Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm so happy to see everyone. It's been a big minute. I've been away for about 3 weeks, some of it by my own choosing, some of it not so much. So you may have heard that I actually went to a big family wedding in Chicago, Illinois, in the United States. I have a big family because of my husband. My husband is part of a big family, and we took lots of pictures and had lots of fun. We were there almost 10 days, which is really super fun. All the cousins were there. One of my very sweet nieces got married, and it was just a wonderful time. And then on the way back, I got sick anyway, so I had to take some time off, feeling much better. But it was a little bit tricky. And so now I am boosting up my immune system, but really feeling so much better. I'm really transformed. If you hear my nose is a little stuffy, that's what it's all about. But in general, I'm feeling really good now. So I'm happy to be here with you. And today we're going to be talking about back to school essentials, college edition. So a couple of weeks ago, I think we did an elementary school edition with all the things for the little kids, but we really want to focus on our bigger friends and family members, those kids that are probably maybe 17 to 22, that are maybe starting university, in the middle of university. I have 2 children, one who's already graduated and the second one who's in his 3rd year, actually starting classes today. Really exciting. If you know a university student or you are a university student, today is for you. Whether you are an undergraduate or a graduate student, these are the tips that are really going to help you to stay healthy. And we're going to do a couple of additional short videos on Instagram and on TikTok and so on. So follow along. We'd love to have you. And if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, please hit that subscribe button. We are really so grateful for everyone who's just chiming in and subscribing to our channel. We love you and we're so happy that you're here. So let's take a look at what we have to talk about today. When we talk about back to school essentials, of course, we're talking about different sorts of essential oils that we can support our students with, but we're also talking about different aspects of university life that we want to really be mindful of. So obviously, hopefully, if you're here, you know me, I'm Elena Yordan, and I love being in this support role. I feel like I'm kind of a brand ambassador for essential oils. And I hope all you are also, that when you find something that you really like it, you're passing the word, because that's really the most important thing. Don't keep it to yourself. Pass along what you've learned, because that's how we help each other. If you're not comfortable yet with essential oils, today's your day to get comfortable with them. And I hope whatever it is that I'm going to be telling you is going to help you to move from the level of, gosh, I don't know anything, to, gee, I think I know something, or I think I'm going to try that. I haven't tried it before. So let's get started right away. We've got a couple of things that I want to talk about. Number one on the hit parade always is, why doTERRA? So I chose doTERRA because it's certified pure tested grade, which means that the oils are pure and they're unadulterated. They're grown in their indigenous lands, wherever that is. So we're not trying to grow, I don't know, oranges in Alaska. Wouldn't work, right? We want to make sure that the plant material that we're getting is grown in the parts of the world where it's more likely to thrive and have the highest level of essential oils, and basically the best, most effective essential oils can be plant material and then subsequently harvested the material into essential oils. So that's what we're looking for all the time. We're looking for purity, potency, and everything in doTERRA's lineup is third-party batch tested or third-party tested. We test in-house and we also test out-of-house. So we're making sure that we're getting that purity, that kind of seal of approval on every single solitary oil that we produce. Many of you may already know that in the bottom of every bottle, there is a code, and you can type that code into a website called Source to You. Yeah. And on there, you will find all sorts of information about that particular oil or blend, where it came from, when it was harvested, and then finally, what's the expiration date on that essential oil, because we want to make sure that we're using it in a reasonable amount of time, right? Essential oils are natural products. They do come from plants, all different parts of the plants. I make sure also that we're treating them kindly. Don't leave them in your boiling hot car if you're living in Texas or somewhere in Southeast Asia. Don't freeze them. Don't put them in your freezer. Room temperature is just fine. You also don't want to put them over your cooktop where there's a lot of steam. So just treat them with kindness, just like you would treat any sort of makeup or products that you would use, maybe even an aspirin or anything else. And if you hear a little bit of noise just now in the background, it's just because it just started pouring rain here. So I hope you can still hear me. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about Source to You. I love how it makes an impact really in the world. We have a couple of different things. We have our Source to You efforts, and we also have our Healing Hands Foundation. Healing Hands is our community outreach, if you will, in each of the communities that we do business and where we source our products. doTERRA is a very conscientious company, making sure that each and every time that we're going out and we're sourcing product material, we're doing it in an ethical way. And I know for many college students, that's a really big deal. So look into the company or the products that you're using in case you've been a college student who's kind of just grabbing things off the shelves at a local supermarket or health food store. Look into what's behind that company and what are they all about? Because I think in general, doTERRA will stand the test of time and make sure that the products that you're sourcing are going to be the best ones for you and for your family and all your friends. Because if you're in college, maybe you're a graduate student or undergrad and you're going to be sharing this with other people, you want to make sure that you're sharing something that's very effective. I want you to take a look at your stress level, right? We always want to be testing our stress. At the very end, I'm going to post a quiz that I have that is basically called Be Mindful Online, Test Your Stress. I think it's going to be a handy link to help you gauge your level of stress in the future, maybe today and in the future, because you can take the test from time to time. I took the test and luckily enough, I didn't come out with a super high score, which is good, means I'm not under a lot of stress right now. I have to say in the last 2 weeks when I wasn't feeling well, I was kind of under some stress, but now I'm feeling a lot better. The maximum score, so top stress is a score of 40. And I guess low stress is 11 or under. And I think I got a 17, which medium, right? A little bit less than the center. So I feel okay about that. Could I go down to 11? Yeah, I'd love to. And I'm always taking steps to be able to do that. I'm kind of monitoring where I am each day. Do I need to maybe exercise? Do I need to get outdoors? What is it that I need to do to really help myself feel more centered and less stressed? And of course, essential oils are a big part of that. And I'm going to talk about that really soon. So number one on the hit parade is what is stress? So as a student, you've got a lot of different stresses. Your parents may have stresses, everything from tuition fees to self-esteem, getting your assignments in on time. Connecting with other people. That first year can be a little bit difficult if you're a brand new student. Who are my friends? Do I know anybody? Can I meet people? Do I like them? Do they like me? All of those things can be kind of weighing on your mind. You're living in a situation, maybe for the first time, you're living in a dormitory with a roommate that you've never met before. And I'm hoping that you get some really great roommates. My kids were super blessed. They've had wonderful roommates. My daughter had actually the same roommate for all 4 years. So, they really clicked and made a great friendship bond. And my son has also had some great roommates. He's been in different living situations, but always kind of the same group of guys, which is really nice. So let's talk a little bit about stress in psychological terms. It's a reaction in the body that can be triggered by many factors, not just school factors, and it can be manifest itself both physically or psychologically. And no matter the type of stress that we experience, the body responds in the same way. You may have heard of the fight or flight response, and it's basically a chemical reaction that the body elicits in response to stress. So it's a kind of instantaneous hormonal stresses. And while they are not, we may be reacting to something that is totally non-life threatening, the body treats it the same way. And basically our cortisol levels go up. right? So chronic stress is harmful to our overall health, whether or not we realize it, but we've got to kind of lower those stress levels, and essential oils really an amazing way to do that. And I found over the years that I'm able to ratchet back my stress, especially if I'm able to identify it, right? So sometimes just sitting quietly for a few moments and saying, okay, why am I feeling so stressed, is a great way for me to get to that next level and kind of get to that level lower, right? To that lower level of not feeling as much stress. Okay, so what's our process of releasing stress? So when we perceive stress, the amygdala alerts the hypothalamus, and the amygdala is responsible for processing memory, decision-making, and emotional reactions. Once the hypothalamus is triggered, a rush of hormones, epinephrine and cortisol, as I mentioned before, are released. And epinephrine is known as adrenaline and triggers increased lung and heart activity and blood flow to your brain, making you more awake and aware, which is a good thing if you're really being chased by a tiger, right? But what happens in our modern society is we're not usually being chased by tigers. We're just feeling general sense of hyper alert, right? And that's what we want to ratchet down. Cortisol changes the way our body breaks down glucose and regulates blood pressure, giving your body the burst of energy characteristic of that fight or flight. So we want to be able to identify what our stressors are and maybe turn them off if we possibly can. So lately I had been feeling a lot of stress, certainly when I was not feeling well. I found for me, there are a couple of things that I did. Number one was I got outdoors more. I was able to actually be in nature. Many of you know that right outside my front and back doors, I have grass and greenery, and I can sit outdoors. And even though I wasn't feeling well, I wasn't exposing myself to anyone else. Put my feet flat on the ground. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that when we used to wear 100% leather shoes, that the signals, the electromagnetic fields from the earth actually would travel up through our shoes and into our body and help to release tension in our bodies. Now, most of us wear rubber-soled shoes. Even our leather shoes very often will have a thin layer of rubber at the bottom to keep us from slipping. Doesn't allow that same penetration of the electromagnetic field. Get outside, take off your shoes, put your feet flat on the ground, and begin to feel some of the relaxation from the earth. If you can get into a park and put your feet right on the ground, that's a wonderful thing. But try to get your feet firmly planted on the ground. If you can get to a beach or someplace really beautiful like a park, even better. But any place where you can put your feet flat on the ground is really a good one. I found that that was very relaxing to me. Sometimes I could sit there for as long as, 20, 30 minutes and really just feel that relaxation. And it's very rare, I think, at least in my life, where I sit and do nothing, just kind of sit. And yet I found that that was really rejuvenating and regenerating for me to kind of sit quietly in that natural space. We want to talk a little bit about anyone who's already using essential oils, of course, because I know many of you who are already using these. And if you've been educated on the benefits of using essential oils safely, so much that you are picking and choosing which oils you're bringing into your house or your school activities. So good on you if you've already been using essential oils. There's so many essential oils that as students, we really want to make sure that we have in our magic kit or our dot kit, if you will. So these are a few of the ones that I've been using on my kids since they were tiny, and now they use themselves. The only one that's not pictured here that's actually pretty funny is peppermint oil. And I will say that especially my son is a peppermint devotee. That's his favorite essential oil, partially because he lives in a really hot place, which I know many of you do too. And he goes through bottles of peppermint like water. And so when I sent him to school, I guess it was his freshman year, he had kind of a big bag of all his essential oils. I would say at least a quarter to a third were bottles of peppermint, all of which are gone now. So I just sent him a whole bunch of new peppermint bottles. So applying that on the soles of his feet every day when he gets out of the shower, really very refreshing, keeps him cool. You can apply it during the day in case his air conditioning goes out or is not working that well. You can kind of refresh with a little bit of peppermint oil. The other thing is we tend to associate the smell of peppermint with cleanliness, with freshness. So when you come up close to my son, he really smells very fresh and clean. I know it's peppermint oil, but I'm sure a lot of people just think it's, I don't know, his toothpaste or some kind of mouthwash that he's using, but it does has that really fresh, clean smell. So try using peppermint as much as you can, especially if you're living in a really hot place. Let's talk a little bit now about the power of exercise. Now, I know a lot of you college students are exercising on a regular basis. At the very least, you're walking around on campus, getting from place to place. So you've got that kind of daily commute, if you will, on foot. Most of you are not driving cars, I don't think. You may be driving to campus, but you still got to hightail it all around campus. Regular exercise or physical activity is, as we know, part of a healthy lifestyle. In addition to helping your sleep habits, it's going to reduce stress by releasing feel-good endorphins and improving overall cognitive ability. So I find that if I'm able to exercise at least once a day, for some period of time, usually for me, that's the minimum is about 30 minutes. Sometimes I'll just get into a groove and I'll be exercising there and thinking, oh, this is feeling really good. I feel better about it. I have to say, I never get to the gym, start exercising and go, I hate this. I need to go home. Usually what happens is I'll get into a groove and then I feel a little bit better and better. You may want to, if you're a college student, you may want to join a school sport, work out at a gym. Try an on-demand fitness class like a yoga, look for apps or videos on YouTube. Swimming, most big universities have some sort of a swimming pool or option that you can tap into, which might not be so easy once you get started working because you're going to have to pay for all those services. Usually universities, they're included in whatever your fees you're paying right there. You might be able to take a bike ride. Some of you I know are able to get bikes and bike around your campus depending on what your campus looks like. Is it hilly or is it flat? Many campuses are flat and you can bike from class to class. You can get a group of friends together for a pickup game of basketball or volleyball. You're all kind of right there. This is your opportunity. Stay healthy, do your exercise. And last but not least, of course, going for a run or jog with friends or by yourself can help to release tension at the end of a long school day. Beauty of exercise is you can do it really at any time of the day or night. And by choosing something you enjoy, you're more likely to participate regularly. For me, I may be a little bit boring. I happen to love my little local gym. I can vary the exercises that I do there. It's small enough and close enough that I can get there quickly. I'm not one of these people who loves to walk on super hot days. We've had some big heat waves here. And I don't know, I don't love that feeling of just walking through the humidity. Yuck. I'd much rather go to my gym. I know it's nice to get outdoors, but for me, spring and fall, when it's in that beautiful kind of cool, crispy weather, that's the time I like to really get outdoors. But needless to say, I'm not abandoning exercise when the weather is bad, because that's really not the greatest thing. So for all our college students, quick reminder, 3 ways to use your oils. Topically, super easy, just apply it on your skin. You can put it wherever you need support. So if you want to put it maybe on the back of your neck if you're feeling tension, or on your temples. Usually oils will reach the bloodstream within about 20 seconds, and then they're distributed throughout the body in about 20 minutes. Bottoms of your feet are always a great place to apply essential oils. Basically, because if you're one of these people, especially I'm thinking of our guy college students, maybe you don't want to smell like one thing or something else. Maybe you don't want people to smell you at all. Putting them on the soles of your feet and then putting in your socks and your sneakers and going off to class. Most people are not going to smell that from that distance, from the floor to their noses. So keep that in mind. Putting them on the soles of your feet is a great place to apply essential oils. At night, on the back of the neck or along the spine, very relaxing, very refreshing, and kind of calming at the end of the day before you get yourself into bed. Of course, you can always use your essential oils just aromatically. Put them in the palms of your hands, rub your palms together. Cup them over your nose and mouth and breathe in deeply. You can also do the really deep inhale method if you haven't tried that, making sort of a little tube And breathing deeply into the back of your throat and way down into your chest if you're feeling some sort of chest congestion. And of course, aromatically, we always talk about our diffusers. You can get diffusers just about anywhere now. doTERRA has some great ones, but I know some of you want portable ones or tiny ones, or I don't know, little face misters or things you can throw in your backpack. Try some of the brands that are out there. Some are super reliable, some not so much, but enjoy it. Get yourself a diffuser for your dorm room if you don't already have one, and maybe for your backpack or purse if that's something that you want to take with you during the day. And then finally, internally, doTERRA, most of the doTERRA essential oils can be taken internally, but don't assume that it's okay to take something internally if you're pure, because purity varies greatly. If something is safe for consumption, the bottle will be clearly labeled that it is what the serving size is, which is usually 1 drop. But many essential oil brands do not have that information on the bottle. Just buyer beware. If it doesn't say it's safe for ingestion, I would be wary about even putting it on my skin or inhaling it. You're going to be absorbing that through all the cells of your body. So make sure whatever you're using is super pure. For our college students, I want to make just a quick plug for taking your vitamins. Students ask me all the time for a regimen that will help them with their health once they're back in school and their schedule begins to fill up quickly. Here's my quick recommendations, if you will. I love for you to take care of yourself with your Lifelong Vitality Pack. Those are your dietary supplements, your daily supplements, if you will. I would include in there PB Assist, which is your probiotic defense formula. On Guard essential oil, which isn't actually pictured in here. You could consider using something like Zendocrine or Terrazyme if you're having any sort of stomach upsets. I would include some citrus oils in there, like your lemon, which we're showing here. And then if you're at all troubled with your immune system, add in your DDR prime, because that's your cellular complex oil. So certainly when I was taking my, trying to get myself back to full health, my DDR prime was on constant rotation. Usually the dosage is 2 at a time, and I was taking 1 at a time, but I was kind of spreading it out and repeating it over the day. You may be having trouble sleeping if you're a student. You can add in your Serenity soft gels, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Maybe your Intune roll-on for for concentration or focus, and even vetiver if you're having difficulty sleeping. Sometimes at the end of the day, you're so wound up, your mind is in a million places, and you want to just be able to unwind, and you can't do it. And we're going to talk about sleep and the importance of sleep for students in about 1 second. The benefit for these particular vitamins and minerals that I'm recommending is that they are whole food derived, and that they are vital, which obviously you want to make sure you're getting things like omega-3s, which are vital to brain growth and, for brain growth and health. And these vitamins are not full of sugar and junk like many mainstream vitamins. You want to make sure that you're getting something that's pure and also doesn't contain a lot of additives that are just, I've seen vitamins sometimes in stores and I think, that's not a vitamin, that's candy. And really, it is, right? Okay, let's talk about the importance of sleep. As you can see in the lower left-hand corner, I've got our Serenity Restful Complex soft gels and our Restful Blend, also known in certain parts of the world as Lavender Peace. Your body needs sleep to be able to perform optimally, and as a student, that's super important. During sleep, the body repairs itself and builds up energy for the day ahead. And poor sleep impairs judgment and reasoning ability and causes difficulty managing emotions, and which can exasperate you in a stressful situation. Sleep can be interrupted by so many different things: poor eating habits, maybe too much alcohol, staying up late. We know that our circadian rhythms are very important for us to be able to maintain good sleep habits and good sleep hygiene. So make sure that your sleeping space is relatively calm and peaceful and not cluttered with a lot of things that are going to distract you and make you a little bit nutty once you get into bed, right? So we want to, of course, avoid things like memory issues or moodiness from poor concentration. Reduced sleep over a long period of time can affect our immune system. So it's really crucial to combating stress and getting enough sleep. There's a big difference between the amount of sleep you can get by on and the amounts of sleep that you actually thrive on. So according to the National Institute of Health, most teens up to about age 17 need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And then over 18, most people need between 7 and 9 hours. I have to say, I kind of naturally gravitate towards that 7-hour range. Sometimes I'll go as much as 8 or maybe even 9, but my body tends to put me to bed at a certain time and wake me up around 7 hours later. So for me, 7 seems to be the right number. And if I'm getting at least 7 hours uninterrupted, mind you, I'm really feeling refreshed and good, and my immune system stays strong, and I'm able to do the things that I need to do. If I get less than 7, or I'm having interrupted sleep, like I go to sleep, wake up, I don't know, read books, do whatever, and then go back and get the same 7, it's not the same. It's not the same. So you really want to make sure that you're getting, if you're over the age of 18, and most college students, university students, I'm assuming, are over the age of 18, shoot for at least 7 hours per night. Let's talk about a couple of sleep techniques. If you're having trouble getting to sleep, you can do a couple of different things. Number one is sticking to a regular sleep schedule. I know this sounds boring and maybe a little bit old-fashioned. If you're a uni student, you're thinking, I want to stay up all night. Yeah, you may want to, but in the long run, it may actually affect your biological clock. So you want to make sure that you're not just trying to catch up every week on sleep that you didn't get during the week. Also, being physically active, as I mentioned before, very important to making sure that we get enough sleep and rest, right? Incorporating that physical activity can help us at the end of the day get into the bed and feel ready to go, drift off to sleep. And then finally, things like avoiding stimulants close to bedtime, improving your sleep environment, keep your room dark, quiet, and free from clutter, right? We don't want things that are totally distracting, that we're looking at that nasty pile of clothes in the corner or some other thing that's distracting to us. And then finally, keeping a bedtime routine. So if you're having any type of trouble sleeping, keep your smart devices out of your room, whatever they may be, and then find a calming activity like a warm bath or a certain book you want to read, something calming, right? Not a page turner that you want to stay up all night, and get yourself into bed and rested. And obviously turning on your diffuser can be a big one. If you are a nighttime shower, using some restful essential oils, applying them to the soles of your feet or the back of your neck before your bedtime can all help you to develop those sleep techniques that we need. So I guess the question is, can essential oils improve classroom results? They absolutely can. There's some great experiments that have been done on classroom behavior. I'm going to post an article in the comments below so you can see classroom results. This particular blend of lavender, lemon, and peppermint has been shown to create alertness, to open up the airways, and also to just provide a bit of brightening. And there's the peppermint that I was talking to you about with my son. My son is a statistics major, so I want to hope that the peppermint is helping him with his studies, because I would not have chosen that major, but he did, and that's what's important. Let's talk a little bit about burnout, right? As college students, sometimes you get to the end, here's a college student doing a whole bunch of math problems and he just looks exhausted. Burnout can be described as a state of exhaustion following an emotionally demanding situation, which can be testing or writing papers. If you're a doctoral student, it can be preparing your dissertation, meeting with your advisors. All of those can be very emotionally demanding. And exhaustion can be physical, emotional, mental, and it can be caused by prolonged stress. Stress and burnout are similar, but they have some distinct differences. Stress is relatively short-lived and usually lessens over time, while burnout takes place over a longer period. And burnout is associated with feelings of of maybe even meaninglessness. So we want to make sure that we're really, if we're seeing ourselves getting very stressed, we want to make sure that we're reconnecting with friends, eating properly, and getting to the point. We don't want to get to this point with the burnout, right? So a couple of techniques we want to use to avoid burnout and lessen stress. Number one is eating well. If you're a college student, it can be very tempting to eat on the run. Using your supplements can be a great way for you to start off the day right and make sure that you're eating properly. You can also eat some of our protein or fiber powders, adding those into your daily routine, but making sure that you're getting some good proper fruits and vegetables on a daily basis, and not just eating things from a packet that are completely processed. Take time during the day to stop and say, what have I eaten today, and what if it was fresh? We have a family joke in our family. Years ago, we went to a takeout place, and they kind of had one of these buffets where you could walk through. And my kids were really good in those years, and really still are, about getting fresh foods and some salad. And when I turned to my husband's plate, he had a whole bunch of, let's just say, processed fried foods. And I said, "What happened? What about the fresh food?" And he looked at some dumplings that he had just gotten, and he said, "But these were freshly fried." And freshly fried is not the same thing as fresh, right? Okay, so we want to make sure we're looking at green leafy vegetables, maybe some fruits, some blueberries, some flax seeds or seeds or nuts, excellent avocado, yogurt, salmon, all of those things on a regular basis, putting them into our rotation. I clearly understand that if you're a student, you may be in a very tight budget, but usually fresh fruits and vegetables are going to be less expensive, certainly, than buying meats and fish and so on. And maybe even incorporating nuts and seeds can be inexpensive and a good way for you to incorporate good, healthy fats into your diet on a daily basis. Second thing we want to talk about is being mindful. So for me, the most important thing for being mindful is stopping, especially when you're feeling stressed, and trying to identify, okay, what is it that I'm feeling right now? It isn't typically taught, but that act of paying attention to the present moment is so important. Why am I feeling a little bit hyper or amped up, or what am I worrying about right now? I can begin to feel like I'm getting into that whirlwind again. We want to help our stressors to disappear, and our adaptive line is one of my favorite ways to really reduce stress on a regular basis. You can do things like journaling, sitting quietly. You can sit with your eyes closed, focus on your breath, using your essential oils to really center yourself. You can do mindful walking. You want to train your brain to focus on the here and now. And I use actually the 3 adaptive products together. So the adaptive calming blend capsules, I'll often take at least a couple during the day, maybe towards the end of the day. At the end of my work day, I can often feel a little bit tense. We didn't get something done, or we have a deadline. I want to make sure that I'm getting things done in an appropriate time frame. Using my adaptive capsules is one of my favorite ways to do that. My calming blend, the essential oil blend, I'll use very often in my diffuser in my office. And then finally, my adaptive roll-on, I actually carry with me wherever I go. I'm bringing that out, making sure that I have it with me. So if I'm having a stressful day, I can apply it behind my ears or on the back of my neck. I usually won't take off my shoe and put it on the soles of my feet, but I could be putting it on in the morning, first thing in the morning, right after my shower, and making sure that I have a little bit on there. Okay, the next thing we want to talk about is supporting your immune health. So you want to be sure that you're being proactive. I have a great 10 milliliter roller bottle blend that you can put together. You want to put 10 drops of each of the following: frankincense, melaleuca, lemon, and On Guard, and then fill it with fractionated coconut oil. You can be rolling that on throughout the day, especially if you are feeling a lot of pressure and stress, or that you're in situations where maybe your immune system could become compromised. That's a great blend for you to have. You want some healthy outlets for stress. Whether it's being on your tablet and doing some drawing, or just drawing with a piece of paper. Either way, making sure you have some healthy outlets for those feelings of I can't get this done, or I don't know what to do, or I have so much pressure, or I have so many deadlines, right? We want to be able to manage our stress the best way that we can. The key is really to find balance between the tasks that you must complete and the ones that you want to do, right? I used to find a lot of times when I was in college, there were things that I would use to procrastinate, and then I would wind up needing extra time to get those papers done or to get things done. So I would frequently, I don't know, clean my room or do something else to get away from getting something done that I needed to. Probably should have cleaned my room earlier so that I was able to relax, or at least concentrate in this stress-free space. Obviously, we want to make sure that our stress is always kind of managed so that we don't get to that burnout level. Okay, set your expectations. Parents, we also have to set our expectations for our college students as well. They're going out in the world for the first time. They are expressing themselves in different ways. They're coming across a lot of people that maybe they've never seen or met before. It's a time of discovery. It's a time of renewal for them and exploration. We want to make sure that they can plug back into whatever their family of origin is. And we want to make sure that we're listening to them, but not always trying to solve every one of their issues. Listening is a great way to help them, but we want to make sure that we're not just jumping in to try to solve every little problem, and doing a lot of really good listening. Busy schedule for parents can kind of keep their mind off their kids if this is your first time your child is going to be away. And then you want to make sure that as you're listening to your kids, you're doing true listening and not just waiting to jump in and give them some advice. So set your workload as students and set realistic expectations for yourself so you don't overwork or overcommit yourself. But again, it's just a balance. It's learning, like, what's the balance for the student, and parents learning what's the balance for me, right? So if you have an only child and they're going for college, going to uni for the first time, it's going to be a balance for you and for them. Let's talk last but not least about the power of aromatherapy. So if you're a parent, you can help your college student focus as they adjust back to school environment. Doesn't have to be stressful, cost a fortune, or come with unintended side effects. Many college students feel that they have to dip into the world of pharmacology to be able to de-stress. And I want to encourage you to really pursue aromatherapy as a low cost and safe way for you to ratchet down stress if you are a student. Taking your health first all the time. This is the DDR Prime that I mentioned before. It does come in a liquid or in a soft gel, both of which are wonderful to prevent against oxidative stress. The blend includes clove, thyme, and wild orange, and has a lot of antioxidant benefits. Also, the essential oils of frankincense, lemongrass, summer savory, and Neuli. You can use 1 to 2 drops of the liquid in citrus drinks or teas or water. It is a little bit strong and spicy, so really make sure you're starting with 1 drop. And then you can use the liquid for a soothing topical massage. The soft gels are just a capsule. You're going to be taking that with water during the day to make sure your immune system stays strong. For our slightly younger students, it might be important for us to combat overstimulation, especially as you first get to campus. There are going to be a lot of activities and distractions, things like you're into roll-on, rosemary, lemongrass, peppermint, clary sage, vetiver, frankincense, all can be diffused topically or put on the pulse points, the soles of the feet or the backs of the necks to kind of keep you in focus, right? You're there for a purpose. Your purpose is to study. And then let's talk about going to a new place. You may be exposed to new toxins, new allergens, new pollens. I love the combination of lavender, lemon, and peppermint. This is actually part of our beginner's trio kit, one of the least expensive ways for you to jump into essential oils. A single box with these 3 oils costs about, right now it's about, I would say 20 US for the 3 bottles. So that's a really good entry point. You can use these essential oils for so many different things, and I highly, highly recommend them. So thank you for joining me. For all of our college students that are listening later on, whether it's the middle of the night or the middle of the day, I hope that some of these tips were useful for you. For those parents that were listening, I hope that you're able to pass along some of this information to your uni students who are just getting started, especially their first-time students. Know that we want them to really have a sense of practicing mindfulness, to stay as stress-free as they can for their bright future that they're launching right now as they go through their university careers. Thank you so much for having been here. There's a lot of ways that you can jump in and find out more about us. You can follow and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. Click the button and ring the bell for lots of notifications each time we have a new presentation. You all are amazing. Thank you for having been here. I'm so honored really to have you join me every single week. And thank you for having been here. We are just now, we're getting to the point in the year where we've got a lot of changes going on. People are getting ready for the doTERRA convention, and here is no different. We're going to be talking over the next couple of weeks about metabolism. And I have to say, I've had a real shift in my metabolism for the positive lately. Even though I haven't been feeling well, I've been doing a lot of things that have helped me with my metabolism and just feeling more energetic. And even though I just had a birthday, I feel just more energetic, more alive than I have in a long time. So stay tuned. Next week, we're going to be talking about metabolism. In the meantime, have a wonderful week. And if you're listening to this live, stay on. We're going to be awarding a few prizes. But for everyone else, thank you for having been here, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye now.